What is the role of that? Okay, what is the role of the team? Okay, first, it helps you to identify the critical cost factors, which is creating turmoil, which is creating pain to the customers or pain in the organization, which is creating a huge deviation. Like that, you are able to identify the critical cost factors. Okay, not cost factors, critical cost factors. Okay, we will be having 10 or 15 cost factors. Out of that, you have to identify the critical one. Okay, then you have to, it will help you to focus on the improvement efforts. I have 10 problems. All are problems. Absolutely all are problems. All of them to be sorted out. But which one has to be sorted out first? It helps you to focus on it helps you to focus your entire efforts, your energy on that particular problem. Apart from that, it helps you to prioritize the problems which you have to work it out. Okay, so as a Lean Six Sigma team, so it helps you to identify and put your efforts on a channelized manner. Okay, this is how this Pareto is absolutely helpful to the Lean Six Sigma team. Okay, now let us go have a real-time example so that all of us may have a more understanding about this Pareto chart. Okay, we got a data from a government industry, and the government industry has given the data in the table form, which is on the left-hand side. So you can see, okay, so you can see the type of defects and the number of defects that occur, numbers of each defects is given. Okay, the frequency of the defects is given. Defective buttons. Okay, in government industry, in ready-made government industry, we know that the buttons will be stitched. Likewise, loose thread, misalignment fabric, and fabric stains, stitching defects, hemming defects, coloring defects. All these things are collected from the government industry. Now, the first step we have to do is we have to put it them in a descending order. That is, the maximum number of defects must be in the top, followed by the less one to the bottom. This is the first step which you have to do. Next, you can start plotting them. Okay. So this is how you have to, sorry. Next, you can start plotting them. So on the bottom, you can see the defective button comes first, then the stitching thread defects are more. Then the loose thread, it is 67 that comes there. Then the hemming one, then the fabric stains, then the misalignment fabric, then the coloring errors. So this is how we arrange the defects in a descending order. And you can draw a bar chart according to the number of defects. So we completed the first one. And now you can see from the total number of defects, you are able to calculate the percentage of each defect. So that when you find out the total number of defects, it comes to around 0.26. So if you find out the percentage of each defect, the first one defective button comes to 44.1 percentage. Then the stitching defects comes to 22. And likewise, we have calculated the individual percentage of each defects. Okay. So I think these two steps, I think you would have understood these two steps. So first you arrange them in the descending order, then you plot them in the graph, then you calculate the percentage of each defects. Okay, so I have calculated it for you. Okay.
Please show the last slide for 1 minute, for 1 second.
Sorry?
Last slide.
Last line. See, actually,
The identify critical.
see this line. You want me to read this
Last
line?
slide, sir. Last slide.
Last slide. Last slide.
See, actually, you want me to explain this? See, actually, lot of problems are available. We have identified problems from CTQs, from CTBs, from COPQs. We have identified lot of problems. Okay, but we have to make sure that we have to choose the problem which is creating a huge loss. Could you please mute that? Or if you are asking a doubt, you can speak to me, or could you please mute yourself?
It's okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir. So as for the Six Sigma team, it helps you to choose a problem. It helps you to choose a project which can solve a chunk of the problem, which can solve the largest problem. Okay, that is how it is going to be helpful for the team. So now let us move to this Pareto. So the important thing is you have to calculate the percentage of each defect separately. Then what you have to do is you have to calculate the cumulative percentage. So on the left hand side, you have the defects arranged in the descending order as per the number of defects. Then on the right hand side, you can see, if you follow the cursor, it will be easy for you. You can see the defective button is responsible for nearly 41% of defects. Okay, 44% of defects, followed by stitching defects. The stitching defects is around 22.8. So what I do is I add the first defect percentage with the stitching defects, and I got 66.9. That is cumulative percentage of defects. Likewise, I go ahead and add the third defect to the second one. That is, third defect is hemming defect. It accumulates for 13.6. So 66.9 plus 13.6, it comes to 80.5. Now, the fourth defect is fabric stains. It goes for nearly 8.7%. So I add this 80.5 plus 8.7, it comes to 89.2. Like this, I calculate the cumulative percentage. Remember, the cumulative percentage won't go beyond 100. Okay, it won't go beyond 100. So you must be careful that. So now I got the cumulative percentage. So I can go ahead and draw the blue line, which represents the accumulated percentage in the form of a line. So you can see the first defect is responsible for nearly 44% of the defects, total defects. And the second one is 22%. So in the accumulated percentage table, you can see it comes to around 66.9. So this is 66.9. And the third cumulative percentage is 80.5. Okay, so it is 80.5. Likewise, I plot the accumulative percentage of defects in the graph. Now I got a complete Pareto chart. Okay, now any one of you, which problem has to be looked into first? Suppose if
defective button.
Yes, defective buttons. Defective button is responsible for nearly 44% of my loss. Then if you add stitching defects, the percentage goes to 66. Then if you add loose thread, it goes to 80.5. Now my team has a very good idea where to focus. If I took these three problems and hit it, I will be able to increase my efficiency by 80%, because you can see from the table, nearly 80% of the defects are caused by these three major defects alone. Okay, so you are able to identify that these three defects are responsible for nearly 80% efficiency loss, 80% of poor performance. So if I say 80% increase in the performance is a wonderful thing, right? So if I focus on these three chunk problems, I will be able to improve my company's performance by 80%, my process performance by 80%, my department efficiency by 80%. So this is how Pareto chart will help you to focus. See, wonderful tool, right? So it is easy for you to choose without any discussions or so much of experience and or so much of hard discussions. You are able to choose which problem you have to focus on. Okay, so this is an enlarged view of this so that you are able to see it more clearly. So this is how we develop this Pareto chart. Now I believe all of you could draw Pareto chart for any given data. Okay. Now, what is the limitation of a Pareto chart? The important thing we must know, because before using any tool, we must know how to use the tool, where to use the tool, and we must know the limitation of the tool so that you can use it accordingly. Without knowing the limitation of the tool, you won't be able to use the tool to the full efficiency. Okay, so what is the limitation of the Pareto? See, normally we go by the number of frequency, number of defects. Okay, but certain times a defect which occurs regularly may not yield you lot of gain. That is, a defect which is negligible may occur regularly. It may happen more number of times, but even if you solve it, it may not increase your efficiency. So that is, so we cannot just go by frequency alone. We cannot just go by numbers alone if you want to be more successful. That is one of the limitation which may misguide you in certain places. So in Pareto, if you go, we go by numbers. In the first basic Pareto chart, we just select the project based on the number of times that particular problem or defect occurs. Okay, that is one simple limitation. So how to overcome it? We develop another type of Pareto. Okay, so we have weighted Pareto. Okay, and before and after Pareto and followed by stratified Pareto. So all these things will help you to short out those limitations, eliminate those limitations which I said previously. See, what is this weighted Pareto? See, please keep your ears open. This is going to be a very important part of this Pareto chart. See, now we got the same data, but apart from that, we got additional data. What is the cost of each defect individually? Like defect button, it costs around 1.35 rupees. Loose thread, it costs around 0.89 rupees. Likewise, we get the cost of each defective from the organization. And we are going to follow the same process. We arrange it in the ascending order and we multiply this, we multiply this cost and the number of defects. That is the number of times a particular defect occurs. And we are able to arrive at a data that is called the weighted count. So in the weighted Pareto, we are calculating, we are determining a new data called the weighted count. The weighted count is a multiplication of the number of defects and the cost of that particular defect. So now we got the weighted defect. You arrange the defects in the descending order based on the weighted data, not on the frequency. Now, in this weighted count, you can see the first one causes nearly 292.95 overall. And the second one is stitching defects. The third one is hemming defects. And the fourth one is misaligned fabrication. Sometimes the order may change. See, when you compare this to the basic Pareto chart and the weighted Pareto chart, the order may change. Okay, because now we have bring another important factor called the cost of the particular defect. So now we got the weighted count and we have to arrange the data as per the weighted count and we have to plot that graph once again. So now you can see there was a small change in the order. Okay, so previously we had the loose thread on the nearly on the 6th place. Now the loose thread has, previously we had the loose thread in the 3rd place. Now it has moved to the 6th place. Previously the hemming defect was in the 4th place and now it has moved to the 3rd place. So one of the limitation of the basic Pareto is we may go by numbers before selecting a project. You may go by the number of times that particular problem occurs. But here in the weighted Pareto, we go by the impact that it creates on the entire process. So you can see 3 defects. Defective stitching and hemming is responsible for nearly 80%. You can calculate the accumulated percentage and you can plot this blue line. So now you know the area which you have to focus, the place which you have to put more effort. Defective buttons, stitching defects and hemming defects, not the loose thread which was chosen previously. So this is how weighted Pareto can help you to choose the correct problems which you have to focus on. Okay, so this another type of Pareto is called before and after Pareto. Before and after Pareto is just a visual representation for the top management or for the middle management people to understand what is the improvement which we have achieved after implementing the solution. Okay, for example, I have implemented a solution and I want to see what is the result of the solution. Okay, so it is just gives a visual representation for the top management. So it will be easy for them to understand. Okay, so the number of defects has come down from 217 to 110. Okay, so the efficiency of the system or the process has improved. It is just a visual representation. So before implementing the solution and after implementing the solution, this is what this before and after Pareto chart is for. Followed by we have stratified Pareto. Okay, now we have enhanced or upgraded the Pareto to weighted Pareto. What is the stratified Pareto? I want to get to the root of the problem. I want to identify what is the root cause of the problem. For that, I go and develop a stratified Pareto or called stratification. Okay, see, it just gives you the root cause or core of the particular problem. See, okay, now I found that defective button, stitching defects, and hemming defects are mainly responsible for the 80% of performance loss. Okay, in now we get additional data from the company, and we found that in whether the stitching defective button occurs in shirts or whether it occurs in chudidas or in kurtis or overcoats or in frocks or pants. So now I took that particular defective buttons and stratify it, get to the root cause. In which type of garment is a defective button occurs regularly? So I found that in shirts it occurs 150 times, in chudidas it occurs just 21 times, and it goes on gradually, and I can see in pants it occurs 9 times. Now I know which area I have to channelize and focus on. Now I can focus on shirt stitching the button defectives, so that I'll be able to solve maximum problem easily. So this is how this stratified parata will help you to get to the root of the problem, so that you will be able to choose that particular problem for project, and you can execute it, and you can have better success. And the organization also will be happier because your goals are in alignment with the organization. So now we move to the level 2 of the parata. So level 2 of stratification. First level of stratification is which garment or in which division or in which mission have lot of problems. Okay, and we found that the shirts are having a lot of problems. That is level 1 stratification. Now we move to level 2 stratification. Okay, so how this defects are occurring in shirts? See, because we further stratify it. Misalignment of button causes nearly 126 defects, and damaged buttons causes 12 defects, and stitching defects of the stitching of buttons in the shirt causes nearly 8 defects. So further stratification helped you to find out that simply if you reduce the misalignment numbers, or if you eliminate the misalignment problem, you are able to improve the defective buttons issue by nearly around 80%, 90%. 122 out of 150 is nearly 80%. So now you know the very core, you can hit the bullseye. It is easy for you, right? So this is how this stratification helps you to concentrate on the areas where you have to focus. So now we got basic Pareto. Okay, we got weighted Pareto, and we got the before and after Pareto, and we got stratification of Pareto. Stratification can be done at 2 levels as per your requirement until you find the core of the problem and where you have to put your efforts. Is any doubts, clarifications, gentlemen?
Sir,
Okay.
cost means it is a rework cost or rejection cost?
See, actually, for example, if you are executing a work, it will have a basic cost. So I am not speaking about the price, the cost. The basic cost, which is calculated for doing a job. If you are reworking it, the previous cost is a loss, right? Okay. See, for example, I am making a fruit juice. Okay. The fruit juice was rejected by the customer. So I have invested some raw material. I have invested some overheads, machineries. So it may cost around 20 rupees. I may sell it to the customer for 40 rupees. So that 20 rupees is a loss to me. So that product is rejected. So the cost is 20 rupees. You got it, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So now we just summarize what we saw previously. So this Pareto is one of the wonderful tools to help you to focus on the frequently occurring problems or defects. So it will be easy for you to choose a project accordingly. So just don't go by the numbers that may lead you to a wrong end, wrong destination. To avoid that, we use weighted Pareto, and to improve to make sure that where we have to put our efforts, we are going for stratification of Pareto, and that helps you to understand the problem to the basic core root level, and helps you to focus your efforts on the area which you have to invest. Okay, this is how this Pareto helps you to select the project. So it is not a hard and fast rule. You just apply the data, you develop the chart, and your team will be nearly satisfied in such a way that they'll be able to select the project without any arguments. Okay, thank you. If you have any doubts, ask, or I will move to the next topic, project prioritization.